Okay, all right. We are still drilling down into topics here, into matters to do with financial risks. How do you assess that? But of course, still before we get deeper into any discussion, I still have to remind you that the Markets on the Zabo platform are already on. You can kindly participate by simply dialing *292#, which is simply the USSD code that will avail you with options where you will be in position to actually buy government bond securities for a few 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, at exactly 8:15 a.m., that's when the markets open, and they'll be resuming at 3:15 p.m. East African time, Monday to Friday. Yes, so Zabo made this a reality for you, and that's why you need to be a part of this. Okay.
Well, of course, still rotating discussions today about managing our financial liabilities. And of course, this brings us to our talk of the hour, and of course, the importance of financial discipline. How are you financially disciplined, or you just spend anyhow, extravagant? You go this, you do the unimaginable, just to, we're all about pleasing people. I know at times, the statuses of our friends also has an impact on how we live our day-to-day life. So if your friends are, high-end, you just feel like, oh, you need to fit in. And at times you go beyond your budget, you go and borrow and buy that Porsche car, and you want to ride it, and everyone's like, ooh, wow. But anyway, you have to be financial. You have to know yourself. Be content with what you have. With time, things go on growing. And of course, it takes a lot of discipline, and of course, mindset for you to be financially disciplined. And personally, my discipline is not that much, really. Everyone has a long way to go when it comes to financial discipline. Trust me, you have to know your budget of the day. If you know your transport, your meals, cover up that, have a sum of money that you need for the day. Okay, don't go overboard. Then in a day you've carried 500,000, and then you're going to go into extra expenses. You look at, for us ladies, we have a habit of whatever you look at, you want to buy. You feel like, oh, it's so attractive, you want to buy. So have a budget, set a budget for the day, and do like that. At the end of the day, you realize you have saved even some money. Okay, so that is one of the ways we can, be financially disciplined, and save and avoid having to pay loans.
Okay. Very interesting in there. But of course, I'll back up that with the report here from the FinScope Uganda. According to the 2022 study by the FinScope Uganda, only 27% of Ugandans actually have formal savings account. That means the majority of Ugandans do not have a safe place to save their money. Of course, we're talking about a financial discipline, and one of the ways actually of having financial discipline is having a savings account with you in there. And also the same study was also found that only 17% of Ugandans actually have a budget. You mentioned about a budget.
Yeah. Of course, we have. If we were to do a survey and ask people if they have a budget, people do not have. People just spend anyhow. And of course, we have not harnessed to live within our means. Living within your means. If that's it, what you get, that's it. You can actually do maybe extra shifts or do but at the end of the day, live within your means. Don't buy a car worth 200 million. You should know you're going to pay a loan, like almost half of your lifetime paying for that loan.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. Yeah, we saw that a study found that 17% of Ugandans have a budget. Now, this means that actually most Ugandans do not have a plan of how they will actually spend their money.
Yeah, once the salary comes in, the week ends, and you can't give accountability on how you spent your money. You can't put on paper like, what, I bought this and this. No. You just go in the supermarket, you go to the market, everything is spent there and then.
Okay. I really see. Now, of course, if we are to guess on some aspects, because we see that we need to ask ourselves, why is it this way? Why is there a lack of that aspect of financial discipline? Why is there that aspect of lack of the budget within most Ugandans in here? Of course, we see that the rising costs of living, the rise cost of living is actually making it difficult for some people to actually have the financial discipline. And now we see that the financial discipline can actually help Ugandans to budget their money effectively and save for unexpected expenses. That is in case the cost of living is favorable. But if it's non-favorable, how are they going to think about saving money for the unforeseen circumstances? It's going to be hard for them because sometimes before we judge them, let's ask ourselves why. Why are they not able? And now, of course, we also see there is an aspect here of the increasing number of financial products and services. There are now a wider range of financial products and services available in Uganda than never before. And now, of course, we say that this is a good thing, but it also means that it is more important for Ugandans to be financially literate and be able to make informed financial decisions, financial literacy. And of course we have institutions which do teach financial literacy, how you can go about your money at the end of the month, how much you should save, how much you should spend. I believe if we at all each one took a month or a time of the day to just go on YouTube and check out on what you can learn a few things. If you've been having breakfast of 10,000, at least tone it down to 5,000. It's enough in Uganda. Actually, 5,000 breakfasts is 5,000 is a lot. You can have breakfast at 2. Depending on where you have the need from.
Depending on where you have it, your social circle.
The social circle people
also depends. And that is what I mean. Living within your means. Yeah, living within your means. So if you know the area, you are in a range of a certain amount, so you have to spend accordingly.
You have to spend accordingly.
Yeah. You can't be earning 150,000 and you're having breakfast of 10,000. No. You have to definitely go for 1,000.
1,500. Can get cassava somewhere.
Yes, those are 5 pieces of cassava.
Okay. Now, we also seeing factors here, the growing importance of the informal sector and how. You could be asking yourself, how is this? Now, the informal sector is a major source of employment in Uganda. However, workers in the informal sector often have irregular incomes and are not covered by social safety nets. And now financial discipline can help them to actually go for these unforeseen expenses. So these people actually have irregular incomes. They're not stable enough because financial discipline would actually come with
when you have
a regular income,
a
flow of income. Because now imagine by the time this money is actually coming through, I have a lot that has been piling up. Liabilities, in other words, liabilities that have been piling out. But of course, that I wouldn't attribute that to an excuse. I would actually urge this person in the informal sector to find another alternative source of income. Somebody told me that regardless of how much money comes in, as long as there is a regular income you're sure of, even though it's 200,000, and you're like, I know every month, and it comes on time, and you know that every month by this date,
you budget it.
There is this money that comes.
You budget for it accordingly.
It is very easy for you to plan, and with that way, you'll be able. So look for a regular income you're sure of that can come in a while. I know it may not be easy. It's a little bit difficult, but do whatever it takes. It may take 10 years. 10 years, that's an exaggeration. It might take 2 years, but at least try so hard to have a regular income out there. All right. We've seen aspects here. What can be done? Consumer protection. Ugandans need to be protected from predatory financial practices. Some of the other aspects that can actually be done. Now, this includes having access to information about financial products and services and having the ability to file complaints if they are mistreated, that is by the financial institutions. Okay, also those aspects, we need to look into them and all that. Now, still getting back to some facts here, we see that according to a 2021 study by the World Bank, only 44% of Ugandans have enough savings to cover their basic needs for 3 months. That was very evident with the COVID-19 pandemic. And by the time this report was out, was during the COVID-19 pandemic. Maybe it even helped them to
give a full report.
A full report, as a backup. Now, this means that the majority of Ugandans are financially vulnerable. And this could actually easily be pushed into poverty if they experience financial shocks. I think that brings us back to what we are saying, some of the contributing factors that since 1986, the new regime, of course, there are records of economic growth and prosperity, but how come the individual households are still living in absolute poverty? These are some of the factors here. I would see that. And the mention of a financial shock can easily take them back to poverty. This can be an emergency which you hadn't planned for, and boom, before you know it, it's a financial shock.
Like,
it takes you back to zero.
Now, like the date when the World Bank actually halted, lending us money. So that means, economically, people are going to be paying more taxes. Taxes are going to be everywhere. So definitely, at the end of the day, it affects the individual person, everyday person. But then, if at all, it starts by saving coins. 100 shillings, 100 shillings.
I know people that have boxes that they save coins and all that.
So definitely we have to create a saving culture. If we are to avoid these liabilities, loans. So definitely, I think because of the cost of living, people are in debts. People are in debt. People are so in debt. Because, look at the education system. If you go to, you cannot, now a nursery school kid pays over $1 million. Close to $1 million. That's just one child. That's it. So imagine all your life now you're going to be going back and forth to the bank and paying. Before you finish the other, you've gone to another bank to get another loan. So it's definitely the cost of living is becoming too harsh on people, mostly Ugandans, those that are into maybe rural areas and they can't afford to buy even bread. So even these local circles that we see, people have debts. So it has really hardened the life of Ugandans. Yes. We're talking of unemployment, the employment rate that has actually doubled. So definitely, what are we going to do as a nation? If at all, because you have to be actually secure. You have to know your job. You're secure. You have to have a job security. You have to know you've signed a contract for 5 years. In those 5 years, what are you going to do to make sure that you save at least at the end of the 5 years? Because after 5 years, you don't know whether your contract is going to be terminated or renewed. So you have to have a plan. What is the way forward? And that is the problem we have. We do not have a plan whatsoever.
You don't have a plan.
If A, B, C, it closes down, what is it that you're going to do? We have no plan.
Okay.
The only option is going to go, let me go and get a loan and set up a business. Hey, it's just a business. It's a point of luck. May work out or no work out.
Luck. Okay.
Yeah.
I know operating on luck is a little bit unreliable.
Unreliable.
Yeah. Now, still, a study also found out that only 15% of Ugandans have access to formal credit. Now, this means that many Ugandans have to rely on expensive informal credit sources such as loan sharks. We saw loan sharks. Oh my goodness, people have experienced this, but especially those that have been operating online. Very tough, high interest rates, required in a very short time period. But why? Because 15% of Ugandans, it's only 15% of Ugandans that can actually, that have access to formal credit. Formal credit, I mean, you go to the bank, you get interest rate at 10%, 8%, 5%, and you're paying it over a period of time. But this is interest rate of about 25%, and you have to pay it in a period of a week.
Wow.
So only 15% of Ugandans can access the formal credit with easy, go to the bank, you get your loan. So what does it mean for the remaining 85%? Definitely, it's going to be hard for such people to really have a high degree of financial discipline. Now, as a result of the lack of savings and access to formal credit, still, many Ugandans have been trapped in a cycle of debt. See? Yeah. Many Ugandans have been trapped.
Miracle, you have Mango Cash, you have... It starts from the phone, then to your neighbor, to the money lender.
Exactly.
And people are moving from district to district to avoid debt.
To avoid debt. People are even migrate, being forced to migrate.
People migrate. No, sorry, people shift at night.
Yeah. They do.
Avoiding to pay.
To pay. So you can see how this can cause
Or they
ultimate
change
repercussions.
lines, or they change lines, you call and the number is non-existent.
Okay.
So that's how far we have gone to avoiding paying our debts.
Paying our debts. All right.
So that is the importance of being financially disciplined. Though, we still have a long way. Even those that think they are financially disciplined, they're not. That disciplined. At the end of the day, you go overboard. You have an extra on the budget. You're like, for this, let me just buy and buy a cute dress for myself, which is good once in a while. Yes, and of course.
Okay. Now away from that, let's remember we're looking at how to manage your financial liabilities, because it's a big issue in our country, Uganda. Well, now let's take a look at risks. How do you actually identify risks? Now, of course, for the case study, because how we identify risks, Uganda has a different case scenario. America has a different case scenario. Kenya has a different case scenario.
Every country has its own case.
It's all reliant on the standing economic situations of the nation at that time. It is real time. Now, to identify risks in, for example, a country like Uganda, you need to consider quite a number of factors here. One of them, we see the economic risks, because we know that Uganda is a lower middle income country with a developing economy. Remember, we say that financial risks, the state of the economy of that nation matters a lot. Now, with a developing economy, this means that it is more vulnerable to economic shocks, such as changes in commodity prices, global economic downturns. Last time we had a report on how a forecast of how global events are likely to impact Uganda in the next 5 months, and we saw that inflation is likely to remain at 10%, and we also saw the aspect of the demand for exports is likely to be down. But of course, we still have to find a way. How can we, despite that, how can we force our exports into that market? But if you're an export-oriented trader, this should actually give you a hint on how you ought to make decisions right now, based on this information. Now, we mentioned a vulnerable economy, which can be affected by economic shocks, such as changes in commodity prices, global economic turndowns, and natural disasters at the same time. Now, of course, there is also the aspect of financial market risks. Financial market risks. And here you see, we see that Uganda's financial market risks are relatively underdeveloped facts, which means they may be less liquid and more volatile than financial markets in developed countries.
Yeah, of course, looking at our shilling or our money, so definitely it also has an impact. It also has an impact when it comes to foreign exchange and all that. Those people that do forex trade. So it's really, well, of course, you have to consider also the business risks. If you own a business, you may have to consider that all the risks that would impact your business, such as a customer demand, competition, and of course, regulatory changes. So those are the risks that come with time, and of course, like he said, the economy also determines the risks in the country. Uganda being in a low income developing country, that means we actually have higher risks than those countries that are in middle, and of course,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, away from that, we've been, of course, breaking down all those different kinds of risks depending on the country. But, of course, we also need to understand that we need to understand the specific financial risks in Uganda, specifically. Now, public debt.
Yeah.
Public debt. Uganda's public debt has been rising in the recent years, and now is over 50% of GDP. 50% of the GDP.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Public debt.
Yes, it is now at over 50% of GDP. Now this raises the risk of debt default, number one, which would have a negative impact on economy and the financial markets. What we talked about in the So it starts from up and it comes in down in here. And also we have an issue of currency depreciation, as Uganda's shilling has depreciated significantly against the United States dollar in the recent years. And this could actually make it more difficult for Ugandan businesses to repay foreign debt, and also could lead to inflation. So as a business person, you need to keep this in perspective. Though I think in today's, it was in today's news, saying about the Dow shilling is still strong. Was it in Daily Monitor Division?
The Naira.
Was it the Naira or the Ugandan shilling? I saw something close to that, not so certain.
The Naira still has issues anyway.
No, like the Ugandan shilling against the US dollar.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. And now currency depreciation, interest rates increases. Those are also some of the key factors that we see as the Bank of Uganda has raised interest rates. 10 basis points we read as of August 2023. That's 100 basis points, which is 10%. Yeah. So this could make it more expensive for businesses to actually do borrow money, and could also lead to a slowdown in economic growth. So there is also the aspect of credit risk, fraud, and so many more, like we've actually been going through all these discussions. Well, exactly 26 minutes past 9. This is Smart Meets Business. I'm Andrew Barije, and I'm here with Masika Time as we are driving you through these specific matters here. But of course, still to remind you that Smart 24 TV is on DSTV, it's on GOTV, DSTV channel 372, GOTV channel that is 320. Here you'll be able to get all this information that is quite very relevant. And also to know that the discussions on the show are proudly brought to you by Zapa platform from Altex. Here you buy bonds and securities for 15,000 by simply dialing *292#. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and they run up to 3:15 p.m. East African time, Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays. There for you, so you can participate with that. Zabud says, it's my money, it's my future. And Altex East Africa tells you that you need to do something new for yourself. And you can also meet us on our social media handles at Smart24TV Twitter and Smart24 TV official. That's on Facebook. And we give you this information up to date. And we believe it's quite key and relevant when it comes to decision making as an individual and as a middle manager out there. Well, for now, let's take a break, and we shall be returning to wrap this up. Remember, we're still looking at matters to do with managing your financial liabilities as a citizen in Uganda.
Smart 24, driving business. Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
The green hydrogen project in the UAE, specifically at the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park, is the groundbreaking initiative in the Middle East and North African region. The green hydrogen project is a collaborative effort involving several key stakeholders. It was implemented through a partnership between the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, DEWA, Expo in 2020, and Siemens Energy. This partnership reflects the commitment of both government entities and private industry to advancing green hydrogen technology. The pilot plant for this project is situated at the outdoor testing facilities of the R&D Center at the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park. This location is significant as it leverages the abundant solar energy resources available in the region to power the production of green hydrogen.
This is Dr. Ali Al-Alili, the Vice President of Research and Development from Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. So let me talk to you a little bit about the power plant that you visited this morning. It's the green hydrogen plant. DEWA, which is Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, implemented this project at Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park. And it came as a result of collaboration with Expo 2020 Dubai and Siemens Energy. It's actually the first of its kind in the MENA region and North Africa to produce hydrogen using solar energy. So we designed this plant to accommodate actually future applications of hydrogen, and it's helping us as a testing facility at the research center. And as you know, the hydrogen has multiple applications, and the way we produce this hydrogen is through a process called water electrolysis, which is basically splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen. And in order to do this, you need electricity. And the attractive thing about this plant is that it's getting this electricity from solar energy. So all of this is actually in line with Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050. That is to provide 100% of the energy in the Emirates of Dubai from clean energy resources by the year 2050.
Green hydrogen is produced through a process called electrolysis, which involves an electrical current to split water into oxygen and hydrogen. In this case, the electricity needed for the process is generated from renewable energy sources, primarily solar power. This makes the hydrogen production process environmentally friendly as it avoids the carbon emissions associated with the traditional hydrogen production methods. The pilot plant is designed not only for the current production of green hydrogen, but also to accommodate future applications and test platforms. This flexibility suggests that the UAE has long-term plans for green hydrogen in various sectors, including industry and transportation. The reference to China as the leading consumer of hydrogen with an annual capacity of more than 10,000 metric tons underscores the global significance of the hydrogen market. China's substantial consumption highlights the growing demand for hydrogen as a clean energy carrier and the potential for its adoption on a large scale. The UAE's strategy to reduce 6.5 million tons of carbon dioxide likely relates to its broader sustainability and climate goals. By producing green hydrogen using renewable energy, the UAE can contribute to the reduction in carbon emissions, as hydrogen can be used as a clean energy source in various sectors, including transportation and industry. Overall, the green hydrogen project in the UAE represents a significant step forward in the region's effort to transition to green energy sources and reduce carbon emissions. It demonstrates the UAE's commitment to innovation, sustainability in the energy sector.
Smart 24, driving business.
Of course, getting into our very last minutes of Smart Men's Business. And of course, glad that you've just joined in, those that have just joined in. Of course, this is your daily Kickstarter, Masikat Sime, and of course, Andrew Barije. And of course, earlier we had Godwin Batuma taking us through from 7 to 8 a.m. And of course, don't forget that these conversations are proudly brought to you by Zabo. So if you want to invest in government bond securities, Zabo says look no further. All you have to do, the market's already open. It's already 8:15 a.m. So you can reach out to them and knock knock. All you have to do is dial *292#. That is their SST code. Whether you have a smartphone or a button phone, doesn't matter. You don't have to go through the long queues, wait in line. No, just use that USST code *292#. You can follow the prompts. There are lots of packages that are in there for you. You can buy bonds, you can sell, you can. It's a lot actually. So, but investment is as low as 15,000 again in shillings. So, if you want to invest, you start from 15,000, and you can actually decide to invest more than that because the returns on investments are, could be quite favorable for you. But opening time is 8:15 a.m., which is already past. Till 3:15 p.m. That is 6 hours of working from Monday to Friday, except for public holidays and weekends. And they are powered by Alltex East Africa, telling you to do something new. And Zabo says, your future is your money. Of course, still talking matters in line with having to manage our financial liabilities. And of course, here to inform you that having loans is not actually good. Mortgages, you never get comfortable. At the end of the day, if your salary is there, there are cuts coming in. So it's not comfortable. I know because of the cost of living, our economy is still growing. There is no way you can escape it. Unless maybe you have an idea on how you can actually fend for your family and make sure that you avoid. But these days, loans are not quite unavoidable. But anyway, we're going to be looking at how we can make sure that we can reduce these financial liabilities. And of course, we've talked about them, creating a budget and of course, tracking your spending, okay? So have a plan, have a budget. If at all, you have a family of 5 and your salary is not, find a way as a family to make sure that you cut on expenses, okay? If you've been expending much on food, now you be like, what, let's do this particular type of food just for the meantime. It's at the end of the day, if you have a little portion of food, it's just survival. It's better than being in debt for all that while. And of course, building an emergency fund. Emergency fund is a saving account that you can use to cover unexpected expenses such as job loss and medical emergency. About insurance, now still here an emergency fund. How secured are you if at all maybe another pandemic stepped in? Hey, you people, you don't know what's coming. But anyway, you're supposed to be secure just in case some things happen. Less like they've said, just in case of a job loss. What do you think you can do thereafter? Yeah, are you going to how are you going to pay for your mortgages if you have lost your jobs? At the end of the day, if the month has come, they have to find something to cut off to pay their bargain. So definitely have an emergency fund. I mean, that's what I could tell you. If I told you have a business or you're an individual, that's what I could tell you, because that's what I would do actually. That's what I'm planning. We also learn actually. We learn as we teach you as well.
All right, now of course our topic here, as we're winding this up, is trying to ask yourself, how do I build a sustainable financial future in here, most especially in a country like Uganda? And of course, it won't be different from what we discussed about. Of course, this is something to do with setting financial goals. What do you want to be 10 years from now? What do you want to achieve with your money? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to start a business?
Do you want to have a car first and rent?
All those, so many of those. You need to put your priorities, your priorities right. That's very key. And budgeting, we've talked about budgeting, that is key. Have a budget is a plan, of course, which shows how you spend your money, and it will also help you to track down your spending and make sure that you are not overspending. Create a budget. Save money regularly. Don't save when you feel. Anytime you get some extra money with you, save it. Save it. And there is also investing your money. You know, once you have saved up some money, you can start to invest it. And now, actually, this can help you grow over time. Now, this is where we're bringing the element of financial markets. Yeah, some people don't want to save with banks; they would rather put that money in bonds and government bonds and securities, a platform which is actually avails for you. And you want, you know, by the time 10 years, 15 years, depending on your saving plan, by the time you're out of there, you're getting your money with a profit, yet you had saved it in there. And if you're lucky enough on the market to really blossom, you might double your money, depending on that. Now, of course, protect your money, you know. Protect your money if you want to have a sustainable financial future in Uganda. Now, it is better to protect your money from unexpected expenses, such as a medical emergency or job loss. And, of course, you can do this by having insurance and by saving for emergencies. So, protecting your money, get insurance. In case of, you know, medical issues, medical injuries, you have this medical insurance already. You insure your house, you insure your property, you insure your car, and so many. You know, it makes it much more safer than that. Actually, somebody said insurance is not meant for you to gain. You know, it's a deep concept. I'll tell you why.
Of course, it's not meant for you to gain, because at the end of the day, you have to use it for something.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, of course, we can take a look at now. If we're to zero it down to Uganda in different sectors, farmer can actually save to buy better seeds and fertilizer, and which can help them to increase their crop yields and earn more income. And now I saw something very interesting here about students. You can save, pay tuition fees, go to a very good university, which will actually increase the chances of being employed somewhere, because you had the right financial plan and you're having a good future. The good job you get is an asset for you. At the end of the day, you're going to get paid some good salaries. And I'm talking about if you're lucky enough to study from a university abroad, you get a job whereby you can... Yeah.
They even have paid internships.
Paid internship. So at the end of the year, if you're lucky enough to get a job, you can have about $100,000. $100,000, how much money is that? 370 million Ugandan shillings. How many people make that money in a year in Uganda? It's very few. They are there. I don't argue that, but they are very few. But you can only achieve that when you have a proper financial plan, and it's building you a proper financial future from that perspective.
Well, another thing that I would tell people is to avoid taking a new debt. If you already have a debt, first finish the one you have, then you can go in for another debt.
Out for the other.
Because the more the debts, the more you're going to run mad anyway. You're going to run crazy. You're going to disappear and elope the country and leave. Yeah, so first finish the debt you have. If you finalize with it, then go for another. Don't have different portions of debts everywhere.
Borrow from John to pay Peter. Anyway, that is also not really good ideology from that way. Okay, now it's 17 minutes to the top of the hour, that is of 10 a.m. Of course, as we're winding this up, let's take a look at how businesses can actually, you know, reduce their financial liabilities for a country like Uganda. And for the business owners out there, small business, I don't know, regardless, expand into new markets. And now, according to the Uganda Investment Authority, Uganda's exports have grown by an average of about 10%. That is per year over the past decade. Now, by expanding into new markets, businesses can increase their revenue and also reduce their reliance on the domestic market. You know, like a Ugandan garment manufacturer could actually expand into the East African community market, which has a population of about 170 million people. Now we're talking about AFCTA, African Continental Free Trade Area. You are able to tap into a population of 1.4 billion people. Isn't that effective? And like I said earlier on, don't wait for governments to actually fast move in. For example, you see that President Yoweri Museveni visited this country. Now that's when you think of doing business in that country. No, establish relations yourself. I said some time back, you lose nothing for you to wake up if you're a business person, you know business is about investment, you will do whatever it takes. Spare about 10 million Ugandan shillings, get a plane, travel to a country like Mozambique. Simple. See there, have money to pay for your hotels. Look for the cheap hotels, but rarely, fairly, okay? Because not that you're a diplomat that every person knows you. You're doing what we call a field work, a business field work study for yourself to see how can you have businesses in those other countries. How can you work hand in hand, move around, meet people, which is okay. I mean, talk to them, see how you can actually build those connections. If you do that for a year, by the time you, if you started doing that in January, okay, I know you may not be able to do it every day because it's expensive, but at least if you make it a priority that you're going to establish your own connections as a business person to the different parts of Africa, by the time you end December, you'll have new business partners which you can actually trade with. So that is the aspect of how you can reduce your liabilities by expanding internal markets. Now, there is also the aspect, now this comes to the innovators in here, develop new products or services. Because according to the World Bank, Uganda's GDP is expected to grow by 5.2% in 2023. And this growth is being driven by a number of factors, including the growing population, rising incomes, and increasing urbanization. Now, we see that businesses can actually develop new products and services to meet the needs of this growing market. All right? Yeah. It's very key and important. Now, there is also the aspect of raise the prices of the commodities that you sell. It sounds controversial, but if inflation is rising, I see in the report here, businesses may be able to raise prices without losing customers.
Oh yeah, because they would understand. They would
Exactly.
understand. If you go to shop A and shop B,
and it's the same price, at the end of the day, you have no choice. You'll have to buy. But however, it is also important to be careful not to raise prices too much, as this could actually lead to loss of market share, you know, and all that. So, reduce costs, streamline operations, you know, and negotiate better deals with suppliers. Eliminate unnecessary expenses for your business. All those are quite very key. Improve your cash flow management. It's quite an important factor here. Then refinance the debt, you know, debt refinancing, shop around for better interest rates, you know, move around, seek alternative financing sources. Now, we've discussed all these matters, but you may be asking yourself, how real have they been in Uganda when it comes to companies that have actually used them? I have an example here for you of a famous telecommunication company in Uganda here, that is MTN. Now, MTN Uganda is the largest telecommunications company. In 2022, I want you to know that MTN Uganda reduced its debt by 10%. That is to 1.2 trillion Ugandan shillings. But the company was able to reduce its debt by increasing the revenue. Yeah, which has to do with the prices in here, the charges, and all that. And actually, how did they increase the revenue? Remember back in the days, it was harder for you, for example, to send from, for example, MTN to Airtel, when you're sending money. Yeah. But now they made it constant. It's the same amount of money. But before you could pay, actually, you're sending little money, but you could pay like 1,000 and above. But now it's 500. Yeah. It's less, but that increased transactions, not only on MTN to MTN, but also they were able to have cross-network transactions, and that increased their incomes. You know,
even cross calls,
and you know, and so many all those factors. So MTN really shows us how you can actually get rid of your business liabilities by simply opening channels to create more revenue for your business. And I hope that is quite very helpful. And we come to the end of the show for today. It's the 10th of October. Yesterday was Independence. And welcome back from the celebrations for those that were able to actually celebrate. But of course, it's a new week. It's time to get back to work. Now, to remind you that Smart 24 is on DSTV. That is channel 372. And on GOTV, that is channel 320. And you can also catch us on free-to-air. That's in case you're not able to have a GOTV decoder or DSTV decoder for you. But also for those that are very much obsessed with gadgets, go to your Google Play Store, download the Smart Digital application, and you will be able to stream Smart 24 TV live. And yeah, Smart 24 TV, there is NBS Radio and also Smart FM. But of course, you will be able to stream Smart 24 TV too. And also on our social media handles at Smart 24 TV, Twitter, Smart 24 TV. That is official. That's on Facebook. Smart 24 TV Live. And on our official website, Smart 24 TV Live, that's our YouTube handle. Yeah, you can stream us at any part of the world that you will be at. And also to remind you that you can visit our official website, www.smart24.tv. And here you'll be able to get most of the business research that you need, updated facts actually, updated on a daily basis. If you're a university student, you're doing research for your project, you're in a business institute, that is the right spot for you for the updated facts. But above all these discussions probably brought to you by Zabo, which is a platform from Alltex, and this just made your trading experience much more easy and friendly. And the markets open at exactly 8:15 a.m. up to 3:15 p.m. That is East African time, and something that actually runs Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends or the public holidays when you can access the services. But Zabo made this a reality for you. Regardless of that, you have these other days for you to make money, something which I believe is quite key and important when it comes to you. Financial growth and development. Zabo clearly told you that it's your money, it's your future. And Alltex East Africa is telling you, brother, you need to do something new. Sister, you need to do something new for yourself. Well, that is it for today's edition of Smart Means Business. And of course, a great thanks for being a part of it. See you tomorrow. Good morning.